do this, y'all.
Let's do this.
Let's do this. Put it in the chat for y'all. Let's do this.
So today's meeting, Explorers Club, is going to take place in a very cold place of Russia. Russia. Now let's see, where is Russia on our map? Elaine got this new map for me, which I'm really excited about. Here, can you all see my map? This is us over here in the United States. Chattanooga. So we're gonna travel over here, this whole orange region. This is Russia.
There you go, Russia.
Wow.
It's a huge place.
There it is on a real map. Now I want to show you just where it is on our Google map, because then we get to see all the cool pictures people have posted. Ooh, Rachel, you've got one too?
Yeah.
Stand up there for a second. Let me spotlight you. Yeah, nice, Rachel. So that's perfect. You can see this whole area right here of the lighter yellow. That is the country of Russia. Thank you, Rachel. Okay.
And Miss Mo.
I'll show you one. Guys.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. But before I do that, has anyone been to Russia before?
Anyone?
Raise your hand if you've been to Russia before. Seth, have you been to Russia before?
Oh yeah, I've been to Russia a couple times.
Yeah, you have.
That's
awesome.
Seth,
That big old place.
big old place. It was St. Petersburg, right?
Yeah, Beaverwood, Russia, all that place.
Okay. So we have a little local celebrity here who traveled over that way, and we'll see where St. Petersburg is on the map, as well as something that Seth and Denise sent me just a little bit ago that I can share with you.
I haven't been to Russia, but my parents have.
Oh, nice, Rachel. Do you remember where they went in Russia?
All over the place. St. Petersburg, Moscow.
Okay.
They just traveled long. They were there when the Soviet Union fell after it, and it was a big change because for a million years, for something odd years, they went to the very first mass since a long time ago.
Wow. Wow. I bet they have some amazing stories to share. So,
they do. Yeah.
So you can see these pictures here,
That's
everyone.
Cool.
These are pictures that were taken across Russia. So you can see some of this beautiful architecture with these old buildings. It's pretty incredible. And then we'll get into some more specific regions. Like Rachel mentioned, Moscow. We're going to explore Lake Baikal, which is on the eastern side of Russia, which is actually right here. This is close, I think. This would be close to Lake Baikal.
That's pretty.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is ice right here. So you can
very cold.
It gets pretty cold in Russia. Yeah. So let's see. Seth went to St. Petersburg. Let's see where that is. St. Petersburg, Russia. St. Petersburg is on the western side of the country, so closer to Europe. But you can see how huge Russia is. It's really far west over here, St. Petersburg. Now, how about Lake Baikal that I mentioned with all the ice?
No.
It's right here. It is one of the deepest and largest lakes in the world. Lake Baikal. You can even see it when you're zoomed way out here. So over here, this was St. Petersburg. Here's Lake Baikal. How about Moscow? Someone mentioned Moscow too. Ah, here it is. So it's on the western side too, a little western and southern.
We'll put Kim
Way
there.
over here.
So we'll be coming back to our Google Maps when we visit different regions within Russia.
Oh,
Just so you know, this is a general view of what it is, how big it is, and where it is compared to us over here.
Hey,
Yeah.
Michelle,
Yes?
I don't know if you can see, but Josh has a question or a comment.
Josh, you want that person?
Isn't there some Russian land to the, northeast of Poland? Like right on the border of Poland. Like there's some land that is claimed by Russia, just on the northeast border of Poland.
I don't know, Josh. It's a great question. Yeah, that's a great question. I'm not sure. Can't answer your question though.
Miss Michelle.
Yes, ma'am.
Before we continue on, I wanted to show you this real quick. I made this in art class. I just made it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful,
We
Kendall.
made
It
self-portraits in art class, and I made
It is
that.
beautiful.
It takes a while for people to learn how to do these things. It takes me a while.
Yeah.
It took me a while to learn, but finally getting the hang of it.
Well, there you go. I bet we're all learning a little something new these days.
Always.
Yeah.
Russia is really pretty,
True.
though.
Always
Russia
good to
is pretty.
explore your artsy side, which Russia is very involved in the arts as well, and we'll get into that today. Elaine, did you have something to add?
I was just gonna say, Josh, I think that you're right, and we'll have to look some more into it. But I think it's called like Kaliningrad. Like it's an area between Poland and Russia, and I think that Russia kind of I don't know if owns is the right word. I guess they inhabit or they take over that space. So I think that that's right. It's kind of on the Baltic Sea part.
Okay, so I've pulled it up here on Google Maps. I can share that with you all again. Josh, that's a pretty cool fun fact to add into our meeting today. Okay, Kaliningrad. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Right now it's snowing there. It's 31 degrees.
That's awful.
So just like you said, Josh, here it is in the northeast of Poland, between Poland and Lithuania. And this is considered part of Russia. And then over here is the rest of Russia.
That's a big thing.
Huh. Very interesting. I learned something new. So for the rest of the meeting today, I know I sent out, this is all things winter related in Russia. What would you do for recreation? And what can we learn about Russia in the winter time? I have a little presentation for you and some videos I want to share, as well as we'll see some about Seth's time over in St. Petersburg. That'll be a really fun thing to see. And then we'll have some time for discussion too. Rachel, do you have a question or a comment?
Toys. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Toys. Just tell you.
Toys from Russia.
Oh,
wow.
Oh, it's one of those dolls. Awesome. It's one of those
Rachel.
dolls.
Do you want to tell the crew, what is that?
This is dolls from Russia.
Wow.
Wow.
My cousin.
Where did it come
I
from?
heard about those.
Russia.
Yeah.
From Russia. Wow.
Wow, Rachel, that's cool.
That is very cool. Did someone send that to you, or did you have family members or friends that went over there?
Wow.
Yes.
Aw,
Nice.
It's like a little animal playing the piano. That's cool.
Oh, very cool.
that's so cute.
Very, very cute.
Mama here.
Yeah.
So I think, thank you, Rachel, for sharing that with us. I think I'll use this time to share some of what Seth and Denise sent me. You all right with that, Seth?
That's fine.
Okay. So I'm going to try to share it from my phone here with these pictures that were sent. So similar to what Rachel had, Seth and Denise were there in 1995 in St. Petersburg. And you can see some of the souvenirs that they got. Those little dolls.
Yeah.
Dolls. These look like beautiful, beautiful little wooden boxes. Is that right, Seth and Denise?
That's right.
Yeah, they're lacquered boxes that are hand painted. They're little velvet on the inside.
Wow. I'm sure there's a lot of detail with those.
And the picture there, that where your finger is right now, that's for the Russian Orthodox Church. That all by itself is really interesting. There are no pews in these huge buildings.
I'll give those to her.
Wow.
Those huge buildings with the beautiful colors and stuff on top of them.
Yes.
Most of those are their churches. And they stand the whole time they're there.
Wow.
My mom can attest to that. Both my parents can back you up on that.
See it. I bet.
So some of those buildings that you were talking about, Denise,
Yes.
would these be
Yes.
here? I'll try to
It
get
would
rid of
be
that.
like that,
glare.
yes.
Background.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of artists, artisans, at least there was in 95, just sitting everywhere. Yes, those kinds of buildings. And those are their churches, basically.
Beautiful.
And they're very, very conservative churches. So it's interesting. It's Russian Orthodox.
That is amazing. And you said there were a lot of artists, is that right?
Oh,
Around?
a lot. They
Kathy
were
called me
everywhere.
one.
And
Call you
so
Ain't It?
we were in the park there in St. Petersburg. And
But that's
I asked the guy if he could draw Seth for me. So we were there for about an hour and a half, and I took pictures
Wow.
of him drawing Seth. And that's how it turned out.
right.
Doesn't
Very
look too
nice.
different from him.
Yeah, I see the resemblance for sure. That's amazing. Huh.
1995, it feels like forever ago.
Oh, and I see down here, thank you, Elaine. Here was a picture of him
Yes.
drawing you, Seth. Is that right?
Yeah, it's me.
Yeah, he
Oh,
was,
Wow,
I'm posing.
that's right.
Posing.
He's a poser.
this is amazing. So this happened about 25 years ago then.
Yes. If you pull up, you can also see the artist's signature. It's kind of cool to look at that. If you can see that?
Oh, I
The
see it.
Russian
Yeah.
letters.
Yeah, the big water.
Yes.
They're a
Oh,
little different from ours.
that's amazing. I was seeing while I was prepping for this a lot of similarities to my sister's being from Bulgaria. Bulgaria was controlled by Russia for a certain amount of time, and they have a lot of influence from Russia.
Yes.
Even the Bulgarian
Yes.
language, the characters are similar to Russian characters for their language.
Yeah.
So it's
It
very
was an
interesting.
amazing trip. It really was. The artwork that we saw there that had been stolen during World War II by the Nazis, and the Russians got it, and it ended up in Russia. Michelangelo works of art. I mean,
Oh,
it was absolutely phenomenal to be there. It's the only place we visited while we were in Russia was St. Petersburg. But what an interesting, fascinating place to go. And
Yeah.
the best thing to eat is the bread on the corner. You just get a
No.
loaf and eat it.
Oh, good. And,
Warm loaf baked in a little corner bakery.
That's a great
ice
insider
cream.
scoop. Thank you, Denise.
Okay, well, thank you for sharing it.
Oh, absolutely.
thanks, Denise.
So something else I'll share with you all. From my time working in Alaska, I was on the Bering Sea. So I'm going to pull it up on the map here again, because the reason I bring this up, over here, I was here in Alaska, and then you can't see it, but it connects pretty closely over here to Russia. So there was a lot of Russian influence in Alaska as well. And there was one village where I attended a Russian Orthodox church just to see what it was like. And it was, I think, very close to the real thing that would take place in Russia. So it's amazing how Alaska is part of the United States. We're actually very close to Russia, not that far. Even one of the villages that I was working in, there was an island that you could see from the village, and from that island you could see the tip of Russia. So it's very close. It's pretty incredible.
Because Alaska used to be part of Russia, but we bought Alaska from Russia.
Yes, thank you, Rachel. We have a lot of history buffs in our club here.
Yes, we do.
Julie, do you have something to add?
Yeah, did I talk different than we do?
There's a little difference there. You'll hear it in one of these videos I share with you. So I'm going to start with my presentation for a few more fun facts about Russia. So right now it's the depth of winter in Russia, and they get a lot of snow. Here's some of those ornate buildings. So I believe this is St. Petersburg or maybe Moscow. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know, Seth and Denise, if you recognize this building.
That's pretty.
That is pretty.
It's very pretty and also very cold. I tried to just dress appropriately for the meeting.
I think that's St.
Okay, this is a quiz. All right, so I want to know who thinks which flag represents Russia. So if you think, I'm going to pull up so I can see everybody. Now don't shout it out yet. Oh,
Oops, you missed it.
Oops, don't look. Okay, I want to see everybody's face. Now, if you think that this one right here that my cursor is on is Russia, raise your hand. The one with the maple leaf. We got a few for this one. Oh, Rachel's shaking her head. Kendall's shaking her head. Okay, who thinks it's this one right here with the white stars and the yellow and the blue? Any takers for this one? No, you guys are smart. What about this one right here?
That one, yep.
That one.
That one.
Ding,
That
ding,
one.
you're right. This one
The
right
red, white, and
here.
blue one.
The three colors, the red, white, and blue. This is Russia. These other flags over here with the
That's
maple leaf
Canada.
is Canada.
Canada.
And
Our
this
neighbor.
one, does anyone want to guess what this one is?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Me too, Rachel.
This is the country of Bosnia.
Oh.
Well, good guesses, everybody. So let's see more about the geography of Russia. Rachel pulled up a map that was very much like this one right here. And you can see we pulled up Moscow on Google Maps. It's down here. But then I really liked this picture of the Arctic region. So because it's winter and certain parts of Russia are above the Arctic Circle, you can see it right here. All of this within the blue circle, this is the Arctic Circle. So you can see, this is what I was talking about. If you can follow my cursor, between Alaska and Russia, it's very close right here. See that? So this view of the Earth is really unique. It's different than a lot of our maps that will hang on our walls. So if you are above the Arctic Circle, many areas within Russia, you only have 4 hours of sunlight during winter. But if you're even north of this circle, it may be less. So at 10 a.m. it's still dark, and by 3:30 p.m. it's dark again. So that would be right now. Right now it would be dark there in many cities.
There we go.
That's right. On average, there are only 19 hours of sunlight in Moscow in the entire month of December. And that means it's only about 40 minutes of sunlight per day. Can you imagine only having 40 minutes of sunlight per day?
Dang.
No.
Woo!
Whoa.
Yeah. So there could be some serious cases of not enough vitamin D. We get that from the sun. I know where I'm from in the Northwest, we have a lot of cloudy, dark, rainy days, and we have something called seasonal affective disorder. Or called
Speaking of
SAD.
sunlight's coming towards me because it's like towards my face.
And so when you don't get enough sunlight, you can become depressed.
That's
so that's
right.
something that you have to cope with. And certainly in Russia, many people have to cope. So here was something from USA Today that I really thought was helpful for us to understand. They said by noon, waiters were putting candles on the tables of the city's lunch spots. Shortly after that, complete darkness returned. One resident of Murmansk told the Washington Post, "The only thing everyone talks about when the polar night begins is how to survive it." So these could be some bleak days. But there are some fun recreational activities that you can do to help you stay positive. Now, just to see how cold it can get, I have a video to share with you.
Let's do it.
What they said.
When it's colder than Mars, your selfies can be.
This was done by a Turkish station, I believe. So you can see look at this, on our eyelashes, it's all ice.
Out of this world.
That looks like it hurt.
Icy enough to freeze your tears. Imagine a dip in freezing waters. This is the Siberian region of Russia, home to nearly 1 million people, and where brutal winters are a normal part of life.
You just have to wrap up very warm. We train ourselves to get used to the cold.
But even here, -67 is extraordinary. In January, it came close to Russia's coldest temperatures ever, and even broke some thermometers. Just days later, though, temperatures in Siberia rose to above zero. Still cold, but many times warmer than normal at this time of year. So what's going on?
A particular reason is moving of cyclones and so on, they are probably...
Here in Moscow, it's also been a winter of extremes. December was the darkest ever, with a total of just 6 minutes of sun.
All that snow.
Wintry weather in Moscow, it can stay frozen as late in the year as May. But this year, by February, this city has already had all the snow and rain it would normally expect in a whole winter. And the forecasters say there's more on the way. It's tradition in Russia to cut through ice and jump in. And even the president takes The extreme winter has made a refreshing start to the year, but still.
Some people are crazy, y'all.
Yeah.
No.
Does anyone want to jump in and do
No.
it?
Oh, no. I already did that. I already did that once as a swim meet. I don't want to do it again.
Too cold.
I would love to do it, but I would love to do it, but
I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, the pool was so freezing when we had to swim in it. It had icicles already, ice forming on the surface of the pool that my mom had to keep her car heated so we can warm up.
Ooh.
I put mine in the chat box, y'all.
Too cold for you. Too cold for me, I'll tell you that.
I lived in Nebraska for 5 years, so I'm...
Yeah, I'm sure you got some incredibly cold weather in Nebraska Rachel?
Yes,
I
it
would-
was
I said
very,
not for me.
So,
it
Jimmy,
was beautiful though.
Jimmy, did you have your hand up?
Yes,
Yeah, I would like to do something like that. But if I did, I want to jump back out and get in front of a head wall.
That's
Right.
right.
I don't want to swim in that icy cold
I
water.
don't either. If I did, I'm gonna go take a nice hot shower.
I know.
Same.
so something else about Russia. Has anyone heard of a banya before?
Yeah,
No.
I heard about it.
Alyssa, you've heard of it. Do you remember what it is?
Mm-mm.
So it's basically like a spa room in Russia. So it's
Oh,
this
that's cool.
really warm little sauna kind of type hut, and it's usually by water, or it's like a lake or a stream, and it's really interesting what they do. They'll use salts and honey and exfoliate your skin. You wear like a certain hat over your head to keep your head cool, but it's very hot inside. And then they use like birch sticks to exfoliate your skin. And after you're really warm, you go and you jump in the cold water. And it's supposed to be really healthy for you.
Oh.
Yeah. So there were actually some banyas or saunas in the Alaskan villages where I worked as well. So again, there's some of that crossover from Russia. That's how you bathe and how you keep your skin healthy. It's good for your circulation. So it's just a different culture. Very interesting.
Finland always had
I done that
saunas
before.
too.
I jumped in the pool before, and it was cold. Right in the hot water I went. The hot shower.
So I have a lot more to show you. I'm going to jump back in. Now, we've seen Russia on the map, but how big is it compared to us? And how many people live there? Even though Russia is 6.6 million miles squared, and the United States is 3.7 million miles squared. So the US is a little over half the size of Russia, right? Here's the US, here's Russia, and here's China. However, Russia only has about half the amount of people that we have here in the United States. And I think part of that is because it gets so cold. And I don't know about you, but I don't think I could handle living in those cold winter conditions and those dark days for long.
Right.
I
No way.
agree with you, Michelle. No.
Nope.
So I want to jump over to the recreation that we talked about, Lake Baikal. I have a short video to show you. And before I do, you should know the ice, it gets as thick as 6.6 feet. So you know how tall Jacob is, Coach Jacob. It can be as tall as Coach Jacob or as thick as he is tall. That's pretty thick.
YouTube.
Dang.
Yeah. So you probably wouldn't have to
That
worry
is
about
tall.
falling through.
That is tall.
Plus live channels Oh, with no hidden fees. Coach Jacob.
YouTube TV.
Baseball.
Try it free.
What is that?
Also, it's making me cold thinking about it.
So one activity that you can do in winter is ice skating on the lake, the world's deepest lake.
Not me.
I would never skate on that ice. No
Not
way.
me.
It's amazing. It's amazing experience. It feels like flying.
You're like cracks crisscross the surface with new cracks forming every time.
I'm not scared. It's very thick ice. It's about 1 meter. So I'm not afraid. Even when I hear the crack of the ice, it's wonderful. It's like music, a very beautiful sound.
What do you think? Is that something
That's
anyone would
crazy.
be
No,
interested in doing?
I can't skate.
Me neither. So I'm
It's a
with
very
you on that.
You want me
Julie.
to?
intense place to skate. So the
You know
lake,
what?
you know, we talked about it being the deepest. It's also just massive because it's 7.8 million acres of lake.
Wow.
And in winter, the temperature can get below as 0 degrees Fahrenheit.
They have dogs.
And you can do, that's right, dog sledding and ice fishing. So speaking of dog sledding, there's a big dog sled race that takes place pretty close to Lake Baikal. It's a little west of there in Novosibirsk, Russia, called the Husky Fest. Now there are some really cute pictures of dogs. This is only about a minute or two long. We'll see what that dog sledding is like there.
Look at them dogs. Look at them dogs, y'all.
Oh, how cute!
So all these dogs are northern breeds, and you can see how thick their fur is.
That dog is cute.
Malamutes, huskies.
The husky is cute.
Yeah.
Oh.
They have those body harnesses, and they have special boots to avoid rubbing their pads on the bottoms of their feet.
That is so cute. Hey, at least they're
the
getting their
pushers and their
exercise.
dogs, they must
That is
complete
true.
105 miles in 2 hours.
At least they're getting their exercise.
Yeah. So you asked if they sound different than us? Listen to
Потому
this.
что метисы, в принципе, бегут сильнее. У них другие задачи. Метисы это, ну как, это скоростные собаки, они предназначены для того, чтобы показывать высокие результаты. Но они не могут делать так, как, допустим, могут делать аляскинские маламуты. Аляскинские маламуты могут взять, допустим, с четверка может взять высокий.
So there you go. There's a little example of some recreation in the wintertime. Now I want to show you where this is.
At least they're getting their exercise.
Well, that's one way to. That's one way to walk your dog.
I like the little boots that they wear. It's so cute.
Okay,
Little snow
Novosibirsk, Russia. This is where that dog sledding race happened.
No.
And here's Lake Baikal. And over here is Moscow and St. Petersburg. So it's still, a lot of these places we're seeing are south of the Arctic Circle because it's very difficult to live and survive above the Arctic Circle with that intense cold and darkness. So that's where that dog sledding race took place. Let's see what's next.
I bet some dogs are probably worn out after.
Right.
So another thing I want to share with you is during the winter, has anyone heard of the movie Anastasia?
Yes.
Anastasia.
that
So
movie.
that takes place in Russia, right? And what you see in that movie is a lot of the beautiful architecture, the ballets, the theater, and some about the culture and beauty of the city. And with that culture comes a lot of tea drinking, Russian tea drinking. And there are a couple videos I want to share with you. I know we're quickly running out of time, so I'll jump right to it.
Anastasia is one of my favorite movies.
Me too, Rachel.
Yes, I love it, Rachel. Just a moment, you guys. I'm going to pull up the video. So this video was done by, it's called, he calls himself Crazy Russian Son. So he has
What
Russian
the heck?
roots, and he's going to explain how Russians drink their tea.
That's funny.
Michelle.
Yes.
I just pulled up pictures of Russia, the palace there. And
Yes.
I just pulled up this picture and it looks really pretty.
Does look pretty.
Nice.
really
I'm
hard-
gonna
it's really hard-
spotlight you so you guys can see on the side there. Kindle's showing us a picture of Russia that she just researched. Kindle, I love that you're researching on your own. Okay, here we go. This is from one person's perspective, how Russians drink their tea.
What do Russians drink tea out of? American cups are simply too small. You need big cups, the biggest you can find at Walmart or Marshall's or wherever they sell big cups. Every single night, my parents drink out of the biggest cups you can imagine, full to the brim. And when they feel sentimental, they start drinking out of what's called a bluzishka. It's sort of like a saucer. And when they feel nostalgic, then they start drinking out of a podstakannik. It's basically this glass holder so that you don't burn your fingers off when you're holding this steaming cup of tea. Now, on to the next big point. What kind of tea do Russians drink? Most Russians don't really like the flavor part of tea. They like the regular black tea. Nice and strong and the basic. And flavors are just too fluffy for Russians. If they want to put flavor in their tea, they add a bit of lemon. And when my grandpa or Dedushka come
Okay then.
the flavor. Now the third point. Tea must be incredibly scorchingly hot. Tea should practically be still boiling. Unless it's hot enough to send you to the emergency room with a burned tongue. Hot enough. And Russians must be loud. You should be able to hear them drinking tea from the other room. A Russian must blow on it as hard as they possibly can. And then they go into a sequence known as slurp, gulp, sigh. Let me demonstrate it for you. Drinking tea is a big deal. If you're gonna drink tea, you need to bring in all the sweets you could possibly get. Like konfeti, for example, which is basically candy. You know, different types of Russian candy. There are basically Russian cookies. And sushi. They're basically these tiny dried-up bagels that you have to crack in your hand in order to eat. And sometimes Russians turn tea into a meal. They drink tea with the buterbrody. They're basically these Russian or European-style open-faced sandwiches. They're usually with things like cheese and salami and tomatoes and things like that. Now, in conclusion, tea is sacred for Russians. My dad even calls it lubricant for the soul. Discussing the meaning of life while drinking tea in the kitchen until the dead of night is one of the most important parts to the Russian culture. Which brings me to a critical point. If you're invited to a Russian household and they offer you tea, you have to accept. If you don't, you might start some sort of blood feud with their family for the next 8 generations.
Если вы откажетесь, они вас зарежут.
Trust me, I am a professional. When Russians offer you tea, you accept. Thank you.
Do we have any tea drinkers in the house?
Yes.
So my takeaway from that is that you need a really big cup for your tea. And what was it? It was slurp, gulp, and sigh.
That's what I do when I drink water.
Yeah, me too.
And so another point with that, it's so cold in the winter that hot tea is something that you really look forward to. And we talked about at the beginning of the meeting some Russian tea cookies. They mentioned some in that little video. And some little bagels, some hard bagels that you have to crush in your hand and eat with the tea.
No.
Rachel, did you have something to add?
Yeah. My mom, she's a tea drinker too.
Your mom's a tea drinker too?
Yeah.
I am too. I drink tea obsessively. So I have, I know we're just about out of time. I just have like a 1-minute video left to show you.
Let's do this.
And this will show you, in general, the different winter activities that you can do. We've already seen some with the dog sledding and the ice skating. And we talked about tea drinking and going to the theater, like to see the Nutcracker. But this will show you a little bit more.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Okay.
Let's do this.
What they said.
Okay. Here it is. And this is specifically around Lake Baikal.
That's pretty.
Yeah,
That
it
is
is.
pretty.
So there you go. In our short meeting time, we've explored a little bit around Russia, what they do in the winter, what it's like there around this time of the year. And I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I did exploring it to get ready for this meeting. So thank you, everyone. Is there anything anyone wants to add before we close out today? Jimmy, I see your hand up. What is it?
Last time when we meet Squirrel Girl, I didn't even get to meet her.
Oh, well, Squirrel Girl usually flies in August. So she wasn't present during that meeting.
No.
But she's also, Jimmy, a Marvel character. And so we could probably pull something up about her in the future to show you a little bit more.
I just read some cool information about her, and when I looked at it, she can lift up to about like 800 pounds.
Right.
That's crazy.
Nice, Jimmy.
I'm sorry, but that is great.
I remember they said she was undefeated.
Yeah, she is.
I love it. Josh, do you have something to add?
Has the culture in Russia changed since the fall of the Soviet Union?
Mm-hmm.
That's a great question. I didn't get to a friend of mine in time who's from St. Petersburg. She now lives in Wisconsin, to ask her if she could join us today. But she's talked some with me about how the culture has changed. And there are some things that have remained. I'm not an expert in this by any means, but some has changed from before the fall to now it having fallen. I think you'll find a little bit of residual from that time to now a new culture that's emerging. It's a great question, Josh.
My parents said that it's changed for the better in some aspects, but it's changed for the worse in some others.
Yeah.
Yeah, any kind of transition for sure is hard, but I mean, I would say that it definitely has some positives as far as the change of being more liberal in some ways, or giving more freedom to individuals versus just the government, and people are allowed to do a little bit more than they were before.
And they hosted Sochi, Russia, the Winter Olympics.
No. Yes, I was going to say that too.
And that was our very first time since we boycotted them to actually compete in Russia.
I think all the states did.
Oh, but because they made positive changes, we didn't have to boycott them so much.
Right.
So that's good. We were invited. So that was a good change.
Yes. There's so much more that we could talk about, but unfortunately our time is out. So gang, it has been really good to see you all on this Tuesday. And keep in mind, as we keep going forward with the Explorers Club, if there is a place in the world or something in particular you want to learn more about or explore together, let me know or let Elaine know. And we'll put it on the list of places to explore in 2021. Did you guys enjoy this one about Russia?
I did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I know a place that we can try to do. China.
Yes, Kendall.
China.
China. We have not really gone much into China yet.
Ooh.
Okay, Kendall, we'll add it to the list.
My
Josh?
mom has been to China many times.
Can we do Hokkaido, Japan?
Hokkaido,
No.
Japan.
Japan, yeah.
Can you send that one to me, Josh, so I can get the spelling correct?
Mhm.
Okay, wonderful. And I love that you all brought some things from either your experience in Russia or souvenirs that you had. That was really special for us to be able to see that. So thank you for sharing. All right, everyone. It is time to say goodbye for now.
Bye.
For now.
Bye.
Thank you for
Bye.
coming.
Thank you.
Next
Thank
Tuesday
Thank you
at
guys
3
for
p.m.
joining us.
See you
Thank you.
Thursday.
Thank
That's
you,
See you on
Elaine.
Thursday.
Thank you,
See you
Michelle.
Thursday.
See
Bye,
you on
Josh.
Thursday.
Bye,
Bye.
Sal.
Everybody. Bye, Josh. Bye,
Bye,
Kendall.
Julie.
Bye.
Bye, Grace.
Bye, Jimmy.
Bye, Rachel and Rachel.
Kendall,
Bye.
you're shining so bright.
And Seth. Julie and
Bye,
Julie.
Elaine. Bye, Michelle. Bye, Seth. Bye,
Bye.
Josh. Bye,
Angelic,
Julie. Bye,
Kendall.
Grace. Bye,